Minister, this question probably won't come as a surprise to you because I've asked it before in priority questions, and it's again seeking an update on the development of the special purpose vehicle by the Irish Council for Social Housing for the investment of funds in social housing. And if you provide me an update, this relates specifically to the credit union sector. It is also, Minister, to remind you, a commitment in the confidence and supply, the €750 million they're ready to be invested, and I'm just seeking an update as to how the progress is with this initiative.
Minister.
Hospital pass.
My answer mightn't be a surprise either, because I've also answered the question on more than one occasion as well. But I'm happy to engage with you on this because it's an important topic. And I think you'll find I did answer the last time, but you mightn't like the answer. But I'll always give you the best answer I can and give you the most up-to-date position. But and again, we're happy to discuss this.
Concentrate on the question and forget about the sides.
We've been interrupted by the
I'm going to give 2 minutes, and that's all.
I was just setting the scene.
Listen, I've been criticised. We're not getting through enough questions, so let's take the business seriously now.
Okay. In formal answer, following engagement with the credit union sector on proposals for credit unions to provide funding for the provision of social housing, the Central Bank undertook a review of the relevant investment framework in 2017, which our department fully engaged with and through all the different parts of that as well. On foot of this review, revised regulations commenced on the 1st of March 2018. The revised regulations included the addition of investments in Tier 3 approved housing bodies as a permitted investment class for credit unions. Because you're correct in saying the credit unions have been very clear that they have a lot of money they want to invest in housing schemes, so that facility was put in place. As such, since the 1st of March 2018, credit unions are permitted to provide funding through a regulated investment vehicle to Tier 3 AHBs for the provision of social housing. Whilst it is a matter for the credit unions themselves to develop specific special purpose vehicles, SPVs, to facilitate this, my department did inform the credit unions, represented bodies, that it was funding a project being undertaken by the Irish Council for Social Housing to examine the establishment of an SPV to facilitate investment in the sector. The department put the bodies in contact with the ICSH with a view to these bodies examining further how they could invest in the sector. Work has been ongoing between the ICSH, a number of the larger Tier 3 AHBs and their financial advisors on the development of a vehicle or mechanism for delivering private financing for AHBs in respect of social housing. This project involved a number of phases, including engagement with a range of financial institutions, having regard also to the recent reclassification decision by Eurostat of the larger Tier 3 AHBs earlier this year. I understand that significant progress has been made with the project, with one AHB having already established a special purpose vehicle. Further work is ongoing to enable the establishment of other SPPs, and it is expected that there will be further developments in this regard over the coming months.
O'Brien, 1 minute.
It just sounds a little bit like you're beginning to wash your hands of this. With all due respect, I think fundamentally this SPV that we're speaking specifically on relates to the credit union sector, and the PwC, as you know, were taken on board by the social housing project to deliver this. Now, it's that specific one that I'm asking about, where that is at. Because whilst I'm aware that the Central Bank, I thought it was actually the 1st of February, but I stand corrected if it was the 1st of March, actually the Central Bank has approved this type of investment. It's actually setting up the vehicle to allow them to do so and to invest in social housing. Now, do I take it from your answer, because you mentioned the Eurostat decision, that government are moving away from this, or are effectively saying this is not something that you now want to see progress? Because I think really what we're very concerned about, and certainly what the Irish League of Credit Unions are, is that they stand ready to actually assist in resolving the supply issue, or being part of the resolution of the supply issue for our housing crisis, specifically on social housing. So this is a real opportunity. So I just sense a major drift in this project. So could you give me actually a time frame? When is the work going to be completed? Because after all, it was commissioned by your department. So when will that SPV be established? When will the fund be able when will funds be able to be put into the SPV for people to seek investment from it?
As clear as I possibly can. This is something we would like to see happening. This is something we put a lot of work into. We worked with the Department of Finance and Central Bank to make sure it could happen. The issuing and the setting up of SPVs is not something we can do as a department. Okay, so we're very clear on that. We have assisted with the funding through the ICSH to help develop that. It's in 3 phases. Phase 1 and 2 are complete. Phase 3, which you're asked for an update, I think is due in October, the next couple of weeks, I believe, that final phase to allow this. So that's to allow a special purpose vehicle to be set up. And you're right to say that legal credit unions are involved in that. But I want to be very clear on this. We have engaged with the credit union bodies, and there's 2 of them. And I understand that the CUDA they're ready to invest. They're ready for that, and they're out there and they're open for business. And they've done their work on this. And they're doing their own work on that, and they've made it very clear to approved housing bodies that they are ready and they can invest in that as well. So that is an option there. It is available. And then there's the other piece of work that you mentioned, which is ongoing, which is another special purpose vehicle option. I've been working with Irish Council Social Housing. That's, I understand, due in October. We helped fund that arrangement. We can't make them do it. It's not for us to set up the special purpose vehicles.
Deputy O'Brien.
October, that's quite definitive. We have had previous answers that have been, a little bit more vague. Well, okay, that's fine. I'll take you at your word. But indications that we're getting is that the SPV that will be established, that the credit unions will not be able to invest in it, that the way in which it's structured. So can you? I know you're personally not setting it up, but can you tell me if you've received the same indications, or do you believe when the work is finished in October? Will the credit unions be able to invest in the SPV that will be established in October? And I hope the indications I'm getting are wrong, but if you could tell me whether that is the case, because I do appreciate that, on your side of the house, that you want to be able to seek different streams of investment into social housing. This is a good idea. This can work. It should work. And we're just slightly frustrated with the delays there. I know it's complex, but if it's October, it should be October. But the last thing I want is that if the work is complete in October and then we find out that there's another hurdle to get over, that the credit unions, that the SPV is structured in such a way that they won't be able to invest in it. Thank you.
If an SPP is set up to facilitate the investment credit unions, that they can't, because that's what it's meant to be set up for. So there'll be something seriously wrong if it doesn't. You've obviously somebody that's fine. You've obviously somebody feeding you information, and that's grand. But they are obviously involved in the process, and that process is to find a mechanism for them to invest their money, right? And so if they can't reach that process, well, then there won't be an SPV announced in October, because that's what they're trying to do. But I want to be clear with you again. There are 2 bodies. There's the Irish League of Credit Unions, and there's also the Credit Union Development Association, CUDA. Okay, and we've engaged with them, and my understanding is CUDA are ready. They have a special purpose vehicle option. They are ready to invest money, and they're open for business to engage with approved housing bodies. So it's actually happened. And then the second piece of work is another model to do that as well, which I'm led to believe is October. You seem to know something about it as well. I want to emphasise, there's something wrong if it ends up that they can't invest in it, because it's set up in conjunction with them, for them, to be able to invest in it, because we want this to happen. And it can't be any clearer than that. And we've gone out of our way to try to make this happen.